Into politics, local government elections in Rivers State on August 30 held months after appointed administrators were left in charge of the state's 23 councils. This came as the initial 6-month suspension placed on Governor Sim Fubara, his deputy, and members of the state legislature. It's nearing its end date. Residents of Rivers State and stakeholders are expressing different opinions ahead of the possible reinstatement of democratic governance in the state by September 18th. Now, to further discuss this, I'm joined by Chief Peter Ameh, a National Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. Good afternoon, Chief Peter.
Good afternoon.
Chief Peter, let's talk about this local government election. We've seen it happen after months of unelected administrators running the councils. What's your take on this?
For me, this arrangement is an aberration to what the democracy that was bestowed, that was given to us, bequeathed to us by the 1999 Constitution. This is an aberration to it, and this is not the way to have for a local government election to be conducted over a quasi-military authority that is now governing the state. Because there was a local government election conducted under the elected Governor Sim Fubara, which Yonsi Wike took to court, and the court nullified the process. So I don't think why the court should sustain such level of illegality within our democratic space. Because one of the most important critical elements when it comes to democratic governance is the rule of law. And when the rule of law is trampled upon, it now tries to erode the fabric and the garment that protects the democratic process from expanding and having its democratic views heard. You cannot have a situation where, from ab initio, the president has already gone above the authority that he has as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because we run a federating state, we run federalism, and anything that has more than one level of government has federating unit. Rivers State has to be one of the federating units in this Federal Republic of Nigeria. So with his own semi-autonomous authority. So you cannot have that kind of arrangement, and then the elected president of who was voted for, who claimed to have been elected by the people, we go ahead to remove and to suspend a duly elected governor, and then also suspend a duly convened state house of assembly that should have been responsible for making good laws and governance for the management of the state. This local government election that was conducted is as a result of the intentions of those who were trying to manipulate the process to run into a state capture scenario where they control the apparatus and the elective positions within the local government structure. This is just the struggle. And that was the reason why the state of emergency was declared in the first place. Because Section 305 that gives the president the power to declare state of emergency has no any provision attached to it. They also give him the president to suspend elected officers. If we allow this to continue within our democratic space, it will undermine the democratic system that we are building since 1999, because the present continuous use of arbitrary power to suspend those who have been elected might further, give a negative impression whether we are fully in the democratic system.
Chief Peter,
because democracy is the rule of law.
Chief Peter, permit me to interject. We have to go on a short break. Please don't go anywhere. When we come back after the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay tuned, viewers. Welcome back. Chief Peter Ameh, if you're still with me, thank you for joining and staying. Before I go to my second question, you were talking about, why Rivers State became a state of emergency because of things. So are you saying that this election that happened wasn't supposed to happen under the state of emergency?
Not at all. The person there today was not elected to conduct any election. Neither was the person being demanded by the people to superintend over the affairs of the people in Rivers State. Whatever that has been done, as far as I'm concerned, in my own little understanding of what democracy and the rule of law means, is clearly stated that this is an overreach by the president and those who are acting on his behalf in the state, including the sole administrator that has been foisted on the people, through undemocratic means. Because the problem we have is that we have not had states that where people who are in charge of state agencies like the Nigerian police, Nigerian army, the DSS can act independently against those who are the appointing authority. Because if you have an appointing authority, those who have appointed them continue to, become loyal to them instead of to be loyal to the Constitution, you find something like this. Because you have a governor who was elected by the Rivers State people who enjoys immunity under Section 308 of the Constitution from all insulated from all sort of illegal activity of state and where suppressive activity by even the federal government. You now have a situation where that person is now suspended, where somebody who was not elected is managing the resources of the state, is dispensing cash without appropriation, without state approval by the State House of Assembly, is also managing to run a local government election and setting up the committee. The State Independent Electoral Commission was set up by him for this purpose. It is totally unacceptable. We cannot continue to lay such precedent within our democratic framework, because we cannot undermine democracy in the process of building it. It is clear that we have a state capture scenario situation in our hands, and because our citizens are no longer looking at it from a point where government deliver for their people, most of them are resigned to fate and have accepted this negative situation as their reality. This is not a reality in the democracy. The reality in the democracy is for you to allow due process. It's for you to allow, even if they wanted to impeach, like Wike claimed, they should have impeached the governor, which would have been good for enriching our democratic fireworks. So you have a situation where they felt they were having obstacle in getting through the recommendation of the state chief judge of the state. So they now decided that the best option to do is to declare state of emergency so that the state can be captured for the APC. I'm not in the PDP. I don't know the governor, but the fact remains that the intent and purpose of that decision was to get the state for the APC. Because what we see today is that even when the peace meeting was called by the president, there were more to the man who was elected than those who were fighting him. And today you see the report from the local government election. We are aware that local government election is the most undemocratic fraud fostered on our democracy, because the governors determine who wins. All the time from across the state, the party in power in the state are usually the one that are victorious. So you can see that the hand that I've displayed is the hand of the APC, where the APC have won 20 local government out of the 23 local government in the state. So it clearly shows that there's a problem, and we must be able to get more people to understand the advocacy we are doing. We are not doing it because we want to be governor of the state. What we are doing is that as long as we run a federal system, we must continue to speak and do this advocacy so that our democracy will not hit the bricks, so that people don't take the power that they do not have because of state apparatus of state that is under their control and command, to use it to undermine the interests of the general populace or a collective people whose right has been trampled upon. So these are the challenges we have within our democracy, and the local government election should not, if it allowed to stand, it will lay a very negative precedent, for us building a very democracy that really represents the true wishes of the people, that really represent and respect the authority of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, Chief Peter, I see your angle, but now, the 6-month suspension of the governor and the key officials is about to expire. So what kind of political atmosphere should we expect in the state come September 8th? Do you think it's going to be calm, like a lot of people said during the elections that it was calm, or do you think it will be chaotic, or something in between?
I don't think what we expect now is that the governor has surrendered to federal might. There's nothing the governor is going to do than to come and do his daily activity of signing checks, paying contractors and paying salary. Because for now he has surrendered, and this is because all the federal authority and instrument of government at the federal level was channeled towards Rivers State to undermine such for him to become so weakened. So, but what I have said here is that there are people who have talked about democracy, who have talked about consistency, but you find in their character they have been so inconsistent with the principles and what the letters of the Constitution as regards rule of law, as regards the rights of the people, as regards the principle of separation of powers, as regards the principle of federalism, which truly give independence to state to manage their affairs, to run through a process where state institutions from executive to legislature to judiciary can handle the affairs of the state independently. That's why you find that if you have federal high court, you have state high court. If you have National Assembly, you have House of Assembly. So the constitution was well designed to be able to insulate the state from the manipulative tendencies of overbearing presidency. But we have failed to achieve that because our people too, the citizens that are supposed to be part of the advocacy, part of the respected, have also been pauperized. They have been beaten into acceptance by the negative policies that have brought economic hardship and have made their reality so harsh that they have no longer also surrender to the whims and caprices of those who now control state instrument of state. So we also do it very well. It is when the people rise up to be able to now demand for good governance, when the people rise up to participate in the democratic process by getting their voters card for voting and then demanding that what they have voted must count and it must represent what their intentions at the ballot was. So it is more, this advocacy is not left for political parties, neither is it left for a group of people who register as an association and call themselves civil society. It is actually meant for a larger, collective space where citizens are enlightened enough, where citizens participate in democracy, where the citizens demand the right thing to be done, so that we can enrich the principle of democratic tenant, so that we can also hold those who are in government accountable. Yes. Because a government that is not accountable to the people will eventually manipulate and misuse public funds for personal use.
Thank you so much, Chief Peter Ameh, for joining us and giving us your thought on the local government elections that happened in Rivers State. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.